That we were going to be talking about today, what is Microsoft doing to improve SharePoint search? And we immediately had some friendly faces out from the MVP community that are like, that focus a lot on this topic.
Yeah.
That we're very keen on hearing, what are Eric and Christian going to talk about? But there's a rich history around search in SharePoint.
Yeah.
In fact, I think if you even go, I think Microsoft even has, I don't have it in front of me, but has kind of a history page. It's almost like a Wikipedia.
I'm sure they do.
Of the history of search inside of SharePoint.
Oh yeah.
So why don't we kick things off? Let's talk about kind of the baseline. Like, how important is search within the modern workplace?
To me, it's key. People need to find information, and it's spread all over the place. And search it's the cornerstone to that. Now, SharePoint search is like one piece of it, though. And there's some specific things I really like about search, and so many of my clients are using, which is why I just think it's kind of cool. But when you look at SharePoint search and search within Teams and search with Microsoft Search and some of the new things that have come out over the last year that we're starting to slowly see, where you can start actually having M365 crawl your external data through external connectors. It's interesting. It's not Google. I admit it's not going to be like this magic find all. I get that. And sometimes I can be frustrated by it all. But to me, it's still key. If you don't get search right, if you don't even try, it's going to fail. Like, your digital workspace is not going to work for people because they're going to be too sandboxed into small little areas.
Well, one of the things that's been frustrating from an information worker standpoint is that over the last decade, I mean, there's 5 or 6 different search experiences within the Microsoft ecosystem.
Yeah.
And which one do I go to? And how do each of those work? And why can't I go to one place and find everything that my profile has access to and serve those results up to me?
Yes. And that's not there yet. But my belief is, when I see the writing on the wall, Naomi Moneypenny over at Microsoft has been tackling this problem. This is my opinions of what I see. This is not like secret information I've been told. That Microsoft Search is supposed to become that. Microsoft Search is the aspect that's supposed to crawl basically everything and bring it together into one spot. I feel it still has a lot to be desired, although I do like how Microsoft Search can combine into your Bing experience. I think it's kind of cool, actually, where you can start to see your corporate information show up when you're just using Bing as a search engine, but it still has limitations. It's not pulling everything up. You're not able to customize it very well, because a lot of my clients do want to have unique search experiences within certain things. They might have a site collection in SharePoint, and they've got multiple document libraries. They've tied it in properly with metadata, the way that you're supposed to, the way we've been taught for the last, 13, 12, 10 years, however long content has been out, 11 years, I think, and 2007, isn't it? Okay, so they want to be able to now create a roll-up where so you could have a search page to go search those 20,000 different documents that you have across 3 document libraries, but I want to be able to search it for the metadata that I know exists, and I want to be able to refine it. That's SharePoint that's going to drive that for you. I mean, that's a real scenario that we worked on just recently even, and I want to be able to create that quickly and easily, and there are answers there, but you have to use SharePoint for that, not Microsoft Search. The customization isn't just there yet.
Well,
I'm a little frustrated by the speed.
The expectations there, like the scenario that I set up, I want to go to one place and find everything. I think it's realistic to say that, hey, for information assets that the corporation, the company owns, that it's in a more controlled environment, that it's a place where there might be those refiners, there might be other tools to get to and find exactly what I need from those corporate assets.
Yeah.
And you may not want to open yourself up to the risks of having that open through another environment where it's combining your LinkedIn, your public search, whatever else information through that one experience.
Well, that's fair, but you have to be logged in, so it's pretty safe. And Microsoft, I think, over the Bing side, did a reasonably good job saying, hey, this is why you're seeing this, because it could be scary and jarring. But where I'm seeing organizations where they've got 55,000 employees, there are many departments spread across, you're using their tenant. You can't create a unified search experience that's going to fit 300 different business unit type requirements, that because there's going to be someone who wants to create something, and they just need to be able to search their stuff easily, and they need to have their custom searching ability. And so Microsoft empowers all that. That's the stuff that actually excites me, because I'm frustrated by the speed of release of Microsoft Search, particularly their customization, because I really would like to be able to build my search experiences like SharePoint I can, and we've been promised that for a couple of years. I've sat in the room at a conference, and I heard them say, yes, you're going to get all this in Microsoft Search a couple of years ago, and we're still not quite seeing it. So but we'll see.
Well, why don't we jump to question number 2 here?
Sure.
So what is new in Microsoft Search?
I don't have a good answer on that. But guess what do we define as new? Some of the cool things that I like, which aren't new, but they're new to the people I talk to, is.
So we're looking at we're doing new, but not new. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What about the new stuff? Well, let's just bring this up to 11 and let's just answer this question.
That's right.
Okay. I love that quote, Christian. Okay, so I just had to use it because I had to. To me, some of the cool things that my clients that I talk to at least still don't really know about are the being able to surface Microsoft results into Bing, I think is pretty cool. Being able to I've just blanked on some of this stuff. Oh, the external connectors I think is pretty cool, and it's still, like, people think, oh, can I just link it to my Workday and I just get magic data out? No, but actually that's not fair. There are third parties that were given, they were partnered up with Microsoft to create connectors to be able to go and help crawl that data. And effectively, all that you're doing these external data is there's a tool that you're going to need to buy or build that's going to crawl the data in that other system using probably their APIs, and they're just going to tell Microsoft Search Relates Graph. Hey, here's this data. I need you to index it. Here's all this metadata. Here's the entity for it. If someone were to search it and the data is found in this data block, then produce the entity so that I can go link to it or something. It's pretty cool. It's just not a set. It's not cheap, and it's not set it forget it. It's just like search. It takes time to do it. So those are some things I think that are kind of cool.
Well, from the community standpoint too, I mean, I know that you're very involved with like the the SharePoint framework discussions and all the community activities around that. So I mean, what else is happening in that space? Because that's an interesting too. It's not just, hey, what there are third-party solutions out there. There's a lot of things that Microsoft is working on, but there's also this community aspect, going and building things, providing solutions or opportunities to go and help actually create the next gen of search.
Yeah, and that's you're hitting my you're hitting the inner geek of me, and that's where I like to be. Like personally, that's where I'm trying to go, is just the dev stuff, because I like building things like that. And so I'm on the PnP team. So the PnP community is meets all the time. They produce all this freely available code and advice and stuff. If none of you have heard, some of you haven't heard of it, just Google SharePoint PnP. It's not actually called that anymore, but it works and you'll get it. And then there's a group of 25 of us kind of help coordinate that, and that's the team that I'm on. I do also want it to name drop. So if you want to stay on top of search, and Christian and I were talking about this before, you're going to want to go to searchexplain.com. It's a good friend of ours, Agnes Molnar. She's just like the leader of search. So that's how I try to stay up to date. Is if she's talking about it, it's important. If she's not, probably not something I need to know about search. On the community side, this to me is a no-brainer decision that you want to probably put on any tenant you're working on. And you may not just dump it into the main tenant app catalog just because you don't want everyone to have it. And that's the PnP Modern Search v4. So Google that, PnP Modern Search. You'll find it there up to version 4. That is one of the coolest tools I've seen the open source community produce. It's basically your classic search experience that we had in classic SharePoint. So it's 4 major components: a search box, a search results, the filters, the refiners that be typically on the left, and then a search navigation component. So those combination of 4 web parts allow you to basically do any kind of search experience you want. You can create a simple search for within a certain site collection, or if you're looking for metadata across site collections. It has all these layouts, like basically no code, and you have really powerful search in 5 or 10 minutes. But even better to me is that you do have all the code. So if the 2 kind of things here: one, every client we work with, we just tell them, hey, we're going to install this. You good with that? And they're like, yeah, because it's cool. It provides all this opportunity. The second thing, though, is any time we need to build a solution that's going to leverage search. So it's going to need to use the search indexer and the search results that come out of SharePoint. We start with this solution. We just rename some IDs and stuff, and then we build from there. I was able to recently in an online demo in 30 minutes, and it wasn't smoke and mirrors. Like, it really wasn't 30 minutes. I downloaded the whole project, changed everything I needed to change, grabbed a few properties, and I made my own web part that produced results that came out of Microsoft or SharePoint Search, and it didn't look like Search. It was pretty cool, and I'm not saying you'll do things in 30 minutes, but within a day or 2, you could have a pretty cool search result component, something based on search, that could have taken you a month to build. So I love that stuff.
Well, and you kind of just touched on this, where you talked about going with the customer, building a demo showing this and building something out very quickly. What is a typical, like a customer that they've been using SharePoint for a while, they're now using Teams, so they have, more of them, the Microsoft 365 stack in place. They want to leverage all the components. They say, we really want help to go in and refine our search capability, because we find we're not able to surface the right content at the right time. What does an engagement look like? So what are the activities that you go through with the customer to kind of level set where they are? And then show them the new.
This one's an interesting one. So this is where it can get complex fast, unfortunately. It's not that it's overly difficult to figure this stuff out, but it can be frustratingly slow because of the way it takes time to manipulate how SharePoint, I do want to clarify, I'm mainly talking about SharePoint Online here. SharePoint on-prem basically works the same, but SharePoint Online, you have less control and you have to do things. So like, what are the exercises? What are time commitments to do all this? What you're trying to find out, in my opinion, is what are the expected outcomes? If I go and put on my Sue Hanley hat, another mentor of mine that I just look up to on all things information architecture, I would be trying to find out what are the actual business problems, what are the expected outcomes, but not necessarily like what is it that you want, rather what are you trying to solve? What's the problem you have? And go from there and try to prescribe the solution. What is it that you need to do to get your job done? Because you may be looking at it wrong. But let's assume you figured all that out. These results aren't coming up, or we know we need to be able to search for this and it's not happening. I want to go back to that data and find out what's the metadata. How should I be able to find that information? Or are there ways to classify the data better? Are there ways to refine it better? What is about the data that I can use to help SharePoint give me the result I'm looking for based on some sort of search criteria? So then the second part, this is where it gets really complex to me, and it's not hard. It's just SharePoint is what it is, and you need someone who knows this stuff. The way that the indexer works, the way that SharePoint crawls its data is it takes all the data it finds and it dumps it into these little buckets. They're called crawl properties, whatever. They need to get turned into managed properties. I'm trying to stay 100 level here, but there's these managed properties that ends up in, here's the big word, the search schema. Customizing the search schema is a little frustrating in SharePoint. The search schema that we use was either built in 07 or 010. And it hasn't been updated since then. I actually think that's wrong. I think it came out as fast, so it'd be 2013, but it's a little frustrating. When you make updates to that, I've seen it take 2 weeks for those updates to take in SharePoint Online. That's not normal, but I've seen it take a long time. And while you're waiting, you have no idea what's wrong. You don't know if you did it right. You can open up a ticket with Microsoft and they basically go, oh, you know, it's in there somewhere. But then it starts to produce results and it's really cool. So long-winded answer for you, but find out what it is that you're trying to get out. Check to see what that metadata is, and then how can you refine the way that search is going to produce results for you so that you can tweak that search schema to give you what you want. Then look at the search results web part component, the PnP Modern V4, and see Modern Search V4, and see if that will give you a better, rich experience. Let's go back to your original thing. Like you said, I want one search experience. Yeah, sorry, it's just not, my opinion. Laying it out, it's not there. It's just not there yet.
Well, I know that, and a lot of people too were just wondering, do I have to go through a partner? Is this something that I can go and tackle for myself? And I mean, it sounds like there is a bit of a learning curve to go in there and do it yourself. And there are a lot of experts, you know, like yourself and your team and others that are out there that have been doing this for a long time. And so I think that also plays into your expectations. What are the outcomes that you're expecting? What are you trying to do over what amount of time that you're, you know, charged with to go and solve this problem or build this solution and the help that you need there. So my final question for you here, for organizations that want to expand, extend, or build for the first time a working search platform inside their intranet and to work across the various workloads, where should they go to get started? Where do you recommend people start?
I'm saying if on the technical side, it's the PnP Modern Search V4. It's a technical solution, but it's pretty easy to install, and you can start to play with it. And what I like about it is that it has some good, some really good tutorials to it. You can get this thing installed, and once you can start to manipulate the results. You can start understanding what's there. You can understand how to make the queries. You can figure that kind of stuff out. There is a document from Microsoft. It's this would be the Microsoft Search Overview. If you just Google in Microsoft Search Overview, you'll find it over docs.microsoft.com. It starts to talk to you about what's possible, and then they've got a lot of links where you can start digging into all the things that are needed, and graph connectors to be able to talk to external things and all the fun things. Kind of back to your last question, can you do all this yourself? Absolutely. You just need to either invest the time or already have built up the knowledge base. Nothing that I'm suggesting here is proprietary or something that, you know, is closed source, like partnered up with Microsoft. It's just could be a challenge, and the time commitment may make the ROI a little weird. So it'd be maybe much more cost effective to hire the expert to be able to get you 1 day of results, which could have taken you a month internally. That's very possible.
Well, very cool. Well, Eric, I know we've covered a lot of ground. You know, is there any other kind of, you know, topic, any side topics around search? Like, how does search change now that you have like the focus around Microsoft Viva and building the experience,
Yeah.
employee experience platform, and looking at data a different way? Like, I don't know the impacts of something like that to search, and how, I mean, any of your customers, because I know that you've been involved early on with a bunch of the EXP, the early days testing out of those solutions. How does that change, or does it impact how your customers are looking at search?
It should. Most of my clients are not bleeding edge Viva. They love what it is, but they kind of need to wait. So they're not able to do it. The ones that are, they're looking at Viva connections first. I would think, though, I'm just gonna not crystal ball it, but just my hope, I guess, is a better way to put it, where I'd like to see things end up. And I believe truly that Microsoft is working on these things, and I believe they care more than I do. Like I've worked with the engineers, I've worked with the people that are building these platforms. They really care. When you get frustrated with Teams, I get frustrated with Teams. The engineering team behind Teams, they really do care. They do. Like I believe them because I met them and talked to them, and these people seem to care. It's just this big platform. Okay, search. So I really want to see search be able to pull things together, such as out of Viva Learning. I expect to be able to search from the top search bar and type something like Viva Learning a topic, or learning something because I learned about it yesterday and I forgot what it was and I don't remember where it was. I would expect search to go take me there. I don't think it will. Viva Connections, not really. That's the kind of more just the home app. The topics, I expect topics to show up in my search results, right? If I'm searching on something and I see an acronym that is already a topic, shouldn't search produce that? Shouldn't search surface that? And
for me, it's also the associated projects, having the visibility into, like, that's a problem with like the basic search capability, is that you're limited by your understanding of the right keywords. Was it tagged appropriately? Was it, how is it mapped within the system to get that data? But if you're now, through these broader tools, able to see, okay, I've gone and searched and I found this asset or this topic or whatever that is, to see associated people and projects and topics that I didn't even know to go and look for. That's an incredible value add to the search experience.
Yeah, I do expect a unified search. So I think we all can agree that Teams search is not very robust right now. I believe Microsoft would agree with that, maybe not publicly, just because for obvious reasons, but they've talked about publicly investments in that space they want to put in there. But I expect Teams search to still be able to search my SharePoint site. I expect SharePoint to be able to surface Teams because I don't remember where that was. And it's all, to me, a digital workspace. It's all a part of my EXP, although I've tweaked turns there, my digital platform. And so I want it to work, but I think this is the definition of insanity. I've been asking for this, we all have, for 15 years. And it's still the same thing. But I actually have faith that if anyone could do it and I trust them, it's going to be Microsoft. I go to any of the other large digital platform solutions and I believe they're going to sell my data. So I trust Microsoft. They're not, my opinion. But so but you did say something else I forgot about, which is that what I like about the search results web part, or the search modern search v4, is since it's an SPFX web part, it can dump right into Microsoft Teams in a tab. So you can create these custom search experiences for your SharePoint data, and Microsoft and Graph as well. But those still have been a little weird for me when I've used that web part. But like, I can create this search-driven data into my Teams tabs with almost no extra effort. It really is blending the lines between all of these different tools into kind of one larger ecosystem, which I really like. That all being said, like, I don't live in SharePoint anymore. I'm actually in Teams, but I'm surfacing SharePoint data once an hour minimum. So
that's a Teams tip that I share frequently when I do productivity tips, is exactly that. It's like, if you are working on a project, and Teams can be more project centric, and where you find yourself constantly going and looking for the same information and creating custom views around that data that you're pulling back. It's like, you could go and create that, have that as a tab within Teams, and make it part of that project, so you can again greatly streamline the needs of that focused project. Pretty cool.
I would like a better multi-window aspect, because my one fear there is that I lose context of where I was, and that's frustrating. But hey, Teams has got lots of room for growth, so that's a good thing.
To pop out a tab, that would be cool. Do you have them out there and have that multi-screen? Yeah.
Like an operating system? Like the operating system of my digital workspace?
Yeah.
Good point that term. So yes, I'm excited by it all. I mean, it's just every solution we work on is somehow driven by search. There's a component of search related to it. I just see it as so common, and I just unfortunately most of our data or most of our uses of it is really a year or two old. All the new stuff that's come out is just still a little interesting. But the V4 solution, oh yeah, no, that one I stay on top of. That thing is powerful. It's free.
Excellent. Yeah.
Free.
That's a good price. Well, Eric, thanks a lot for your time today.
You.
It's been an interesting topic. Folks, if you want to find out more about, of course, you can find Eric Overfield out on all the social media channels.
Absolutely.
Check out PixelMill.com as well for his company. And the blog, you guys do a lot of great content, constantly doing webinars and other
Oh,
tools
yeah.
there.
Our last one was on that V4 Model web part, which is really cool. And I just enjoy doing it.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you all so much. Bye, everybody.